Namaste, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Lilith's Alive Show. Today is all about shamanism and your specific questions about it. So excited to hear your questions and to answer them and share with you. Facebook has been really glitchy, so I'm going to pull up another page to see if it's working now. I really hope it is. If you're here with me live, please let me know in the comments. If you're on the replay, let me know how you're doing. Let me know any questions that you have for me that I don't answer right here live, so I can answer them later for you in the comments. Good. It seems to be working. Everything is looking good now, so now the only other question is, can I see comments during the live? So, comment, say something. Oh my goodness, I hate it when Facebook does that to me. How can I test this? I can see that you're online. I can see it on the other screen. I can't see it here. Now the comments are coming up. Good, now the comments, I can see them. Yay, yay, yay. Beautiful, it's working. This is my third attempt to come live here, so I'm really happy it's working now. Welcome everyone. Hi Michelle, hi Sylvia. So happy to have you here with me. Yeah, so this session is really like an open space for you to ask any questions that you have. So fire away anything that you want to know from me about shamanism, be it personal, like about my story, be it factual, or I should, when it comes to shamanism, I should pretty much say experiential, more like just ask away. Hi Desiree, hi Eilish. And I have written down some of the things that you've asked me before when I posted about this, because this session came about with me just sharing some of the topics that we went over in the apprenticeship. And you had so many questions about it all. I was kind of hoping that there would be some kind of trend, everyone interested in the same thing or something, and then I would have talked about that today. But there were so many different kinds of questions. So I thought I'm just going to do an open Q&A session and hope that this is going to serve you. Good. So, hi Sherry, so beautiful to have you here. Sherry was just in the retreat session with me. I'm holding the Dark Goddess initiation at the moment, a shamanic descent. It's definitely the deepest kind of experience I have been teaching so far. An absolutely beautiful experience, and we've been sharing so much in it. So like I'm in this beautiful, expansive, opened up, very intimate space right now where I just really feel very open. So make use of this time with me to just ask anything that's on your heart. Sylvia is asking about how to get rid of old programming and beliefs, limiting beliefs. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I'm sure you look just as beautiful. I'm here in my new jungle home. If this were a daytime session, then you would see the beautiful, huge green jungle and behind me. And actually, this is what's going to happen from now on. This is the last session I'm doing in the evening. This is 9 p.m. right now for me, which is just too late for me, to be honest. So from now on, these sessions will be at 10 a.m. my time, and I'm fully aware that everyone in Europe is not going to be able to join me live, which is okay. That's what the replays are for. Everyone in the US, it's going to be your evening time. Good. Thank you, Sylvia. I'm really happy to be here. I have two houses here now. So I'm in one house, and my son and his dad live in the other one, which is right next door. So it gives me a lot of freedom to choose when I want to spend time with them and when I want to be alone and work. So yeah, it's amazing, and we're really in the middle of nature. It's beautiful here. I already saw a monkey and a parrot from my window today. It's pretty amazing. And there was a frog that joined me before in my workspace, which was also pretty cool. Okay, so Desiree is also asking something about programming. So let's dive in right with that. So Sylvia, I think maybe that's just the wording you used, but I think it's really important to mention that we cannot get rid of anything that's part of us, right? So our old programming and limiting beliefs, if we try to push against them, if we try to get rid of them, then they're gonna push back. So this is not how it works. How it really works with anything that's part of us is we have to find out the reason for it being there, right? We have to go that deep to understand, okay, so why do I have this limiting belief? Why do I have this programming? We have to find out how it serves us, how it has served us in the past, how it is still serving us. And that will give us really, really deep insights into our soul journey. And from there, from that place of clarity and also of acceptance, that's when transformation happens, right? So that's the first thing I want to say about that. And I mean, for me, obviously, my perspective, when I look at it from the perspective of shamanism, everything originates on the soul level. So limiting beliefs, old programming, this is all in the mind and the emotions and the habits, but these all originate at the soul level. So of course, the most powerful thing that you can do is go to the soul level and heal at that level, and then your beliefs are going to change and your programming is going to change, right? So shamanic healing would be my go-to, and of course you can complement that with some kind of daily practice. And I mean, I love affirmation practices. And of course, I mostly use shamanic affirmations, right? Shamanic meditations, because I definitely think that the shamanic element is very, very powerful. Like, for example, using the drum, being in a trance state while it happens, it's just much easier to access the subconscious in this way, right? So yeah, let me know if you have follow-up questions, Sylvia. Now, Desiree, to answer your question, how to focus on abundance when scarcity is so deeply programmed. This is a really beautiful question. Now, so I feel that this has mostly to do with the root chakra, right? The lower three chakras are all about our incarnated existence, our earthly existence. And money is all about that level, right? Money supports us, puts a roof over our heads, puts food on the table. So it is all about the physical level. We don't really need money for our spiritual needs and things, right? I mean, of course, we can buy programs, we can buy support with money as well, but that's not where scarcity comes from. Scarcity comes from this belief that there is not enough, this fear that there is not enough, right? And that has to do with the physical level. And when we think back to when we go back to an evolutionary perspective, then it makes sense, right? I mean, our first need is for survival, right? So back when we lived in caves, I'm sure there was a lot of shortage of food right then. So this is kind of where it comes from. It comes from the oldest parts of our brains, from the reptilian brain. And that's very deeply connected to the root chakra. So I would definitely work with the root chakra on that, because that is going really deep. Because you said it's deeply programmed. Going to the root chakra is the deepest you can go, right? This is where you connect to your subconscious. And that's how I would work with that. I have a whole course on it, Shamanic Chakra Healing for Abundance. Let me know if you haven't checked that out yet. It's a very in-depth, beautiful, deep program. And it's on sale right now, I think, by accident, actually. My assistant put it on sale by accident. So now is a good time to check it out on my website before I tell him tomorrow that he made a mistake. Let me know if that answers your question, if I can help you more with this. I also have, on my YouTube channel, I have a video about the root chakra specifically as well. Good. Sylvia says that makes sense. So when you say dealing with it with journeying, dealing with it on a soul level, yes. So shamanic journeying, right? So when you want to heal the soul level issue, normally you let another shaman work on you to restore that balance that you lost on the soul level. So that's what shamanism is all about, right? It's restoring this balance. So all the soul pieces that you attracted in the course of this lifetime and other lifetimes that you actually don't need anymore, that don't serve you anymore, you can let go of those. You can give those back to who they really belong to. Because ultimately, they're just the burden once they've served their original purpose. And then you also need to take all of the soul pieces back that you have given away in the course of this lifetime and other lifetimes. So that is really the deepest way that you can go. And I absolutely recommend for soul level healing, even if you are a trained shaman, that you let someone else work on you. It's just easier if you don't have to hold the space for the healing to happen, as well as open up to the healing, right? That's why Chris, who's also in the session, welcome, beautiful. She's going to work on me tomorrow. Her today, my tomorrow morning, which I really look forward to. Good. Chris says, yes, the transformation is always in the soul. And healing with the soul allows the new reprogramming to happen. Yeah, absolutely. Desiree says, thank you, that resonates. I have a big block on money as well. I always think I need money, but then I haven't, so that stops me. Well, of course we need money, right? Of course we do. And I think the more we can make money our friend, the better it is, because we just, we have money. It's a big part of our lives. I actually think it's very beautiful, because otherwise we would never be able to exchange services and goods worldwide, which is a big part of what makes my life beautiful. So I really appreciate money a lot, and the way we can exchange energy is so beautifully through it. And yeah, that's why I have a course on it, because I know it's a really, really big thing for many aspiring and new healers, that they have a block about money, about receiving. It has a lot to do with self-worth, with self-love. And ultimately, we can access it all through the chakras. And when you combine the yogic work and the shamanic work like that, that is just super, super powerful. And that's another thing that you asked me about, Desiree. No, actually, it was Dawn who asked me about that. She said, I'd love to know more about shamanic yoga and how it's different and powerful. So you see, I have had a beautiful yoga practice since I was 19 years old. And when I was first introduced into shamanism, I was like, wow, that's the missing piece for me, because actually yoga is very complete in itself. Everyone who studied yoga will probably agree with me. But the problem is it developed at a time and was created for a group of people. It's just not, it doesn't really fit into modern life. The way it was supposed to work is you were supposed to use the asana and the pranayama and the kriyas, right? So that the body postures, the breathing practices, and the cleansing practices to prepare yourself to sit for hours and hours in meditation. That was the ultimate purpose, that you are able physically to sit for a very, very long time, and also mentally that you can hold that concentration, so that you could access really high states of consciousness by meditating for a very long time. The thing, though, is that shamanism accomplishes that for you in a much shorter amount of time. As soon as you listen to the trance and you are in the trance state, you can already access these states really easily. Shamanism is, of course, a lot older than yoga, and yoga really is a shamanic practice. Everything has developed from shamanism, after all. But I find in yoga, it was developed by men, and I find that the feminine side is very much missing. And to me, shamanism has a lot to do with including that feminine side, the feminine power, the power of Mother Earth, and the power of us as women to receive that more receptive side, the softer side, And yeah, and yoga, the traditional yoga that we learn today doesn't really have that. Many, when they come to me and they learn shamanic yoga, they're like, wow, for the first time I'm actually enjoying yoga. And it's because I put this focus back onto the feminine roots of yoga. So that's really all I do. I teach shamanic yoga. I designed to teach shamanism step by step and safely. Because you see, what I was telling you before, I studied yoga and then I started my shamanic apprenticeship. And then I realized that I was learning much faster as the other apprentices, and it was much easier for me. I wasn't struggling at all. It just happened so fast and so beautifully and so clearly. And I just asked myself, why? Why is it so much easier for me? Why am I the only one who it is so easy for? And then the logical answer was the yoga, because I'd worked so much with my body, with my breath, and with my mind. So I realized that, shamanism has a very high entry threshold because we do not work with the body, we do not work with the mind, and mostly we also don't work with the breath. We just work with the emotional level and much more even, and the focus is really on the soul level. So how do you go that deep, right? Well, you first have to work with the other levels, and that's what yoga helps us with. So when I realized that, I started to combine yoga and shamanism, and it was just so amazing to see how beautifully it worked for other people as well. And it really enabled me to teach shamanic journeying very quickly, very effectively. I have never ever had anyone who studied with me who didn't learn journeying, which is a track record I know that other shamans do not have. So I'm really proud of that, and it's just beautiful because this is really the only spiritual practice that we need. It goes so deep. We can receive guidance so clearly. We can get all the support we need. We always have the spirit team around us from that point onwards. It's just a practice that we learn once, and it will serve us all of our lives. It will grow with us, evolve with us as we grow. So I just love it. I'm sure everyone who has studied shamanic journeying will agree with me here. And yeah, so that's really what shamanic yoga is all about. Yoga is the tool, basically. Yoga is the tool that I use to teach shamanic journeying. But it's not just that. It also, in integrating the yogic aspect into what I do is, it also just makes it easier to integrate that soul level healing. Like when we work with the body, it is much easier to integrate what we heal back onto a physical level. When we are overwhelmed after a really intense journey, when we are not grounded, then the yoga comes back in as well. There's so many things that we can do. It's such a beautiful combination. Yeah, so I absolutely love it. Let me know if you have any more questions about it. Chris says, Shamanic Chakra Healing for Abundance is a wonderful program. It goes so deep. Yes, it does. These practices are what helped me go from earning 1,000 euros at the start of the year to earning 6 figures. So pretty powerful. How much something like that would cost, just to have an idea? Is this done with the use of substances? Do you ever use plant medicine? What's your opinion about it? What do you mean something like that? Do you mean a shamanic healing session or? And no, I don't use any substances. I have, for the first time, experimented with truffles last year. So that's the only experience I have with plant medicine. It's like I used it 3 times last year. And it was a beautiful experience. I did microdosing, so I used a very small amount. And I found that the trance state was not more powerful than when I do a shamanic journey. It was pretty much exactly the same thing. But the substance in itself can, of course, be very healing. And if you don't use it, then you don't have the power of the substance in your body, obviously. So I definitely think that plant medicine can be wonderful. And also, I think that you need to be very careful with it and not use it alone. Always have someone who really knows what they're doing to help you with that. And I'm definitely not that person. So you could, for example, reach out to Barbie Ventura, who is much more versed in all things plant medicine than I am. So what I do to induce the trance state is I just drum the shamanic drum. That's really all we need, because the sound of the drum reminds us of our mother's heartbeat in the womb. So it's just beautiful. It instantly leads us to switch off our minds. We go back to the state of oneness. And yeah, it's like it's where the body and the mind and the heart and the soul all come together. It's very beautiful. Chris says, when I experienced the shamanic yoga, it merged my body and mind soul connection to work together as a team. It has brought my awareness in the spiritual, physical realms to new depths. Oh, I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing, Chris. Journeying is such a beautiful practice, and I'm so grateful for you, Lilith, and the apprenticeship. I'm so grateful for all of you, lovelies. The apprenticeship really is like my calling manifested. Can't even share enough about how happy this program makes me and how much I look forward to each session and to reading all the amazing things that you're doing and seeing you grow and stepping into your power. Literally fills my heart every day. A soul healing session with a soul retrieval, how much does that cost? Is that your question, Sylvia? So I don't know about other healers. There are many shamanic healers who could facilitate a session like that for you. I do not offer single sessions because I think that's a little bit careless. When you go that deep, when you go to the soul level, then you really want to make sure that you're thorough in what you're doing. So my smallest package is a 3-session package where we first really talk about what's going on for you so that I know what kind of intention I'm going into the healing with, where I learn more about you so that I have a fuller picture of everything that has to do with that issue. And then in the second session, we go into the healing process itself. And then we talk about that in the third session, about what happened and what needs to happen afterwards to integrate this into a physical level, into an habitual level, a relationship level. Like there's lots of levels that obviously a healing session can affect depending on what the session is about. And yeah, so that's usually how I do that. And this package that I have is 444 euros, and I don't always have availability. Mostly my spaces get snatched away by my apprentices, who I commit to serving first. But if you want to do this kind of session, if you want to learn more about it, definitely reach out to me and I'll let you know when I have a space available. Okay, Rachel is saying, during the Chakra Healing for Abundance program, I was gifted unexpected money on numerous occasions and have seen my abundance on every level transform. I love hearing that, Rachel. Yeah, it is a really, really powerful program. Could you repeat again where I can find information about the Chakra Healing for Abundance program? Thanks you. Oh my goodness, I didn't think the session was going to be about that. I'm going to pop the link for you into the comments. I'm just going to look it up now. It's on my website, which is shamanicyoga.love, although I'm having a new website created right now, which is why the old one is somehow glitchy, as my assistant sort of works on both of them and keeps... It looks really weird right now, but never mind. Here it is, Shamanic Chakra Healing for Abundance, and it is 111 euros cheaper than it should be. So that's good for you if you want to buy it today, because I'm definitely telling him tomorrow that he needs to put the old price back. So here is the link for you. I've popped it into the comments. Good. So let me check your comments, see what else you were asking about. Paivi, is that how I pronounce your name? To experience shamanic yoga practice, where do I find more info? Workshop. I don't do workshops. I teach shamanic yoga in the transformation, which is a 10-week program, or you have access for 3 months actually. So it's a 3 months program where I teach you shamanic journeying in 10 steps. So if you want to find out more about it, I don't have it on the website right now because I also have limited spaces for that. It's not a DIY course, it's a real program. So you have access to me in live sessions and in our private group and everything. So if you want more info, just send me a private message and I can share a link with you, a private link where you'll find out more about it. also happy to chat with you about it if you want to. Good. So there was another question that I missed somewhere. I know I did. Where was that? I think it was from my lead. Oh yes, would you consider offering a course in shamanic healing for animals? I love you so much, Alish. So you don't need it, love. You see, you're in the apprenticeship. You're studying shamanic healing. You already know how to do it. Your practice sessions went so beautifully. I'm so proud of you. So basically, all you have to know about healing animals is a few different components, right? Basically, everything works exactly the same as you would do with humans, but obviously you cannot talk to them. You talk to their owners, right? If you work with pets, obviously that is. If you work with wild animals, it would be different, I guess. But then if you work with the owner, obviously they have to communicate what the issue seems to be, right? And then, of course, you have to communicate with the animal to see what's really going on. And like, I'm not an expert in animal communication, which works differently, right? Which works with receiving images about what the animal is trying to tell you. But for shamanic healing, we don't actually have to know that information, right? What we actually just need to find out is what they need. Is it soul retrieval that they need? Is it a power retrieval that they need? Is it extraction work that they need? Probably going to be all of them, depending on the issue that they have. So all you would do is go in with that intention. And of course, it is great if you can be in the same physical space as the animal. I have actually never done long distance healing on animals. I'm sure it would also work, but I don't have any experience with it. I don't do animal healing all that much, but I have done it in the past. I have done it on horses. I have worked with dogs and with cats. I think that's it. That's all the animals I have practiced on. And it works beautifully because their mind isn't getting in the way. They are really happy to receive healing, which is why sometimes all they need is one healing session and they're good to go. But that being said, what I want to make you aware of is that most pets take on stuff for their owners. Cats do that much less. Horses and dogs do that a lot. So you will probably find that the core issue is probably not going to be with the animal itself, but with the owner of the pet. So I would, if this is something that you want to do, I know we talked about this in the apprenticeship, that this might be your healing focus to work with animals, but then I would definitely offer this as your signature offering, that you also work with the pet owners on their issues, because the animal is probably just holding space for them. I hope that makes sense, Alish. Let me know if you have any other more specific questions about it. And I mean, the only other thing I can say is I would obviously not use the drum with them, because that might scare them if they're not used to the sound of the drum. So like for me, for example, I don't need the drum anymore to get into a trance state. For me, that's very automatic. I could do it right here, right now, sitting with you if I wanted to. But of course, you can also, if you need the trance state, you could just do it with headphones while you work on the animal. And obviously, depending on the animal, they might not particularly like to be touched or whatever, but you don't really have to touch them. All you have to do is be in close physical proximity with them. So it might also be nice to have a session where you just get to know them before you actually work on them, so they already know you, they already trust you. And animals are very smart. They're going to know that you want to help them, so it's probably going to go really well. Chris says, I do shamanic healing on my pets a lot. That's beautiful. Okay, hi Renata, welcome. I would like to know more about the shadow work. Can you tell more about it? Do we work on our shadow explicitly in the apprenticeship? I just started the shamanic training of the apprenticeship, so don't know yet if that's coming. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the transformation, right? So you should have already gone through that. So I think it's week 6. Help me out, someone else who's gone through the transformation. I think it's week 6 where we work with the shadow. where we bring in the shadow self and the higher self to really help us integrate part of our shadow back into ourselves, right? And Renata and the Dark Goddess retreat that we're doing right now, this is the deepest kind of shadow work there is, right? So this is where you really go very, very deep into your subconscious and into your shadow parts, into everything that you normally don't like to look at. I'm sure you have experienced this on this journey going downwards in the descent. So let me know if you want to know more, if you have more specific questions. I so love the retreat that we're doing, by the way. I mean, I so applaud all of you 13 women who signed up for this experience, because it's not an easy journey to go down, to go deep, to go in the underworld, to meet the Dark Goddess, to let go of everything that we hold dear in the process, and really experience ourselves without everything, without our usual habits, without our usual thoughts, without our usual emotions, without our usual things, our coping mechanisms, with, you know, letting go of our children, of our husbands, everything during that period, and just experiencing us as the purest form of who we are. Even right at the end, when we let go of the body, of our name, of our story, I mean, that's, every one of you is sharing that, how emptied out you feel, how, what a relief that is. And that's also ultimately the most amazing way to deal with you know, limiting thoughts and old programming, and to process trauma and everything, because, you know, you literally go into it, you relive all of it, everything that you let go of, you relive the story of that, your relationship with it, and you let go of it. And then when you pick it back up in the ascension process, well, you don't get back everything, which is a good thing. You're really letting go of some things. It's the most powerful way to let go. And that makes space. That makes space for your next level to come in. That makes space for your ascension process. So it's such a beautiful experience. Because I'm seeing that all of you are having the most profound experiences and amazing results from it, I'm already thinking about how I can make this more accessible to more women. Part of me thinks that maybe this is the kind of journey that many of us aren't ready for, that we really need to be very courageous for. You know, that's just for a special few. But another part of me thinks that this is such a deeply feminine journey that all of us have a right to. It's like a birthright as women to be able to go that deep, to meet the Dark Goddess, to go into, you know, everything that we don't normally look at, to work with this natural part of life that is death, that is stillness, that is darkness, that is winter, that is nothingness, that is chaos. You know, that's so beautiful when we can finally look at that part of life and learn that it gives birth to new life, right? That this is what we are reborn from, if we dare to die that kind of ego death first. So very, very powerful. So I'm kind of thinking, should I just offer another live round later this year? Should I make it into a DIY program, just offering the Facebook group for the group in my private network for support? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on whether this is something that you'd be interested in. Good. Oh, so many comments coming up. Week 7 is shadow work and integration. Thank you, Rachel. Dark Goddess initiation is amazing, and the transformation that has already happened is beyond my expectations. Yeah, Sherry, I know. It's such a beautiful container as well. I just really loved how, you know, I love how intimate our sharings are in that container, and how much more we share than even in the apprenticeship sessions where we already go so deep. So it's just wonderful. I love you all so much. It's a truly life-changing transformation. You're never going to be the same again. I know, Chris. It's amazing. Hi, Jessica. What do you think is the differences between shamanism, releasing spiritual practices, and releasing and other spiritual processes. Not sure exactly what you mean. I mean, the difference between shamanism and all other spiritual practices, for me, definitely is that, I hope this is your question, is that shamanism is the origin of all other spiritual practices, right? It's the origin, it's where it all comes from. It is understanding the energetic reality of our universe at the simplest and most profound, level. It is just pure experience of what is on the deeper levels, on the subconscious levels, and also on the higher levels, on the superconscious levels. So it's a very direct way of experiencing the energetic reality of everything, and traveling it, right? It makes it's so beautiful in shamanism that we can travel these energetic realms, that we can actually see them, smell them, hear them, feel them. It's direct revelation. It's amazing. So if your question was more about letting go, I definitely think that letting go is a process that affects all of who we are. And I think that, like I said before, it all starts at the soul level. So this is where we need to go with letting go. If we can do a soul extractions, like let go of the soul parts that don't belong to us, that's really the deepest we can go. And it's very, very important. And also working with extractions, of course. So that is letting go of any energies that we have attracted in the course of our lifetime that don't really serve us. Renata says, yes, the goddess initiation is really deep work. I have come back today from the underworld and it is really powerful. Ooh, I look forward to reading what you're going to share about that in our group. Alicia is saying the retreat is becoming a huge turning point in my life. It is truly amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. I actually feel the same. I'm doing the retreat alongside with everyone else, and this is my third descent in the last 6 months, and this one is definitely a culmination of all kinds of things. And I'm just experiencing this crazy rebirth here in Bali after the last 2 months have been like hell. It's really been a big kind of initiation and a big ego death and initiation into my next level. So very deep stuff indeed, and so grateful that we're going through it together. Good. Okay, so I don't see any questions in the comments, but any new ones, but I have received some from you before that I want to answer before I end the session. So Anne was also interested in the shamanic animal healing, which I've already shared about. You also asked about shadow work, and I already talked about that as well. But you also asked about middle world journeying. Now, all I want to say here about middle world journeying is that even if you have studied shamanic journeying, even if you know how to travel the lower realms and the upper realms, middle world journeying is very different. It can be very dangerous, because the middle world is the energetic equivalent of everything here that we experience in the 3D. So everything that we can touch and see with these two eyes. And it is in this reality here that we find things like lost souls, right? Which are often described as spirits, ghosts, right? It's those who have not managed to move on into the bardo, into the world between the worlds where we go after death. So they're just hanging here and they don't know that they're not supposed to be here. They're really literally lost souls. And they don't always have a good agenda because they're very confused. Then of course there's other people who know shamanic journeying, who use it purposefully for their own selfish agendas and are like literally vampires who just feed off of people who don't really know what they're doing with their energy. There's lots of stuff like that going on in the middle world, which is why I always advise to not do any middle world journeying before you haven't before you don't have this really strong foundation of traveling the upper realms and the lower realms, which are much safer, because this is where your spirit animal and your spirit guides can accompany you, can protect you in a much better way. And here, in this level, what we really want is to be grounded. That's why in the apprenticeship we work so much with the grounding as well as opening up the higher 3 chakras, right? Because we want to make sure that we are grounded in our bodies at the same time as opening up. We want to make sure that here in the middle world, in the 3D, we are safe before we open up. That being said, I realize that many of you asking about middle world journeying are my apprentices, and it is probably time that I add a bonus module into the apprenticeship about middle world journeying, because I realized that many of you are going to have a calling there. Still though, make sure that you have the necessary experience and understanding of what you're doing before you start doing that. And I'm happy to help you, all of my apprentices, to gain that understanding and experience, even though middle world journeying is not one of my particular specialties, but it is interesting, and I definitely have enough experience to teach you. Good. Desiree says, I keep getting drawn to shamanism. At the same time, there is so much that resonates and interests me. Waiting for the start of a Path of Isis program, training for High Priestess. Well, to be honest, all of these things all come from shamanism anyway. So many of my apprentices have been healers for a long time, some for decades, and still they feel like shamanism is like coming home. It explains everything else. It is the source of everything else. So I definitely recommend that you study shamanism first before doing anything else, because it's probably going to make it unnecessary to study anything else, or it's going to make it much more clear. It's going to, your healing mission is just going to be clarified from studying shamanism, from being around your guides every day, from having that clear guidance and support all the time. And then from there you can expand your training. So that would be my way of doing it. But of course, only you know. So just follow what's in your heart of hearts and what feels good. Follow what feels good. Good. So Heidi was asking, confused about advice from guides, how to tell if it's an authentic message. So Heidi, you're one of my apprentices, so you know all about shamanic journeying. So if you are in a trance state, then the advice that you get from your guides is obviously going to be an authentic message. Now, obviously, depending on where you are at in your life, what the journey is about, this, the state that you're in when you journey, etc., is going to influence what you can receive. But I wouldn't doubt the authenticity of the message if you are receiving from your guides. Of course, when we just start out journeying, which you do, then it can sometimes be confusing, the guidance that we receive from our guides, because we are not used yet to their level of, or their way of communicating, right? Because they're definitely not human beings. Some guides are like ascended masters. They have been incarnated before, right? So they know about the human experience, and their sharings are normally pretty clear. But there's lots of other spirits that we work with who have never been a human being, and they don't necessarily share in a really straightforward way, which is completely fine, because learning shamanic journeying is all about learning how to leave the mind out of the equation. And you just learn how to receive differently, how to understand differently. And that's a process, right? That's a process. But what you can definitely do is, if you're afraid of like your mind coming in, like absolutely do the practices that I've shared with you in the apprenticeship, like flowing out of the mind and into the heart. Do that beforehand. Make sure you clear your personal energetic space before you do it, so there's no energetic interferences from the outside. And what you can also do is to get dismembered. Ask your spirit guides to dismember you. If you've started part 2 of the apprenticeship yet, the shamanic training, there's where you learn how to be dismembered, which literally means that you're going to be killed in a way energetically. So it basically means that your ego dies. And that's a beautiful practice. Might seem brutal, but it's actually not. It's wonderful when our ego dissolves, and that's when it's really easy to just witness and hear and receive what spirit is has in store for you or wants to communicate to you. So I definitely recommend you do that. Good, I hope that answers your question. Good, I think I've answered all the questions so far. I mean, lots more topics that you were interested in, but the ones that you directly asked about. Good. Sylvia is saying, has it ever happened that one of your students can't connect with their guides, can't see them or hear them? How do you know you're talking to your guide instead of other entities? It has actually never happened. That's what I said before. I have an amazing track record of 100% success rate in that area, which is why I created Shamanic Yoga in the first place, right? So that I could teach it in a powerful way, in an effective way, in a step-by-step way, which is why it works so well. And no, it can't happen that you talk to other entities instead, unless you travel the middle world. So that's why I warned about that before, because that can definitely happen in the middle world. But in the upper realms, in the lower realms, the way I teach shamanic journeying is very differently from how most shamans teach it. The way I teach it is I have a lot of safety mechanisms built into how I teach it. For example, we have a gateway, right? So the gatekeeper is your first instance into the shamanic realm, and going through the gateway is amazing, because if it's not going to be for your highest good, the gateway is simply going to be closed. So on a day where something bad might have happened to you, you're just not going to get in. For example, that's one of the things that how I teach. The second thing is, the way I teach, you're going to be with your spirit animal from the start. Every time you enter, you go through the gateway, there's your spirit animal waiting for you, who amplifies your own energy, your which like your purest kind of frequency in animal form, which is another beautiful protection that you receive. From there, you travel to your inner home, which is another one of those instances that I built to make sure it is safe for everyone, which is where you will meet your spirit guides. And your inner home is designed so that only you can enter, and only the ones that you invite in. So it's a safe place. So it could never happen that you talk to someone else there. And only with experience do you venture out into the wider realms of the shamanic realm. And then you're going to know, right? Then you're going to know if there's, an entity that you're talking to that is not genuine, but that usually never happens. Because another thing is that I teach is that you go in with a very clear intention, and that's all that spirit needs to guide you. If you just go on a random shamanic journey on YouTube, that can definitely happen. So definitely be aware of those kinds of shamanic journeys, and of anyone who pretends that you can learn shamanic journeying overnight, or who just wants to guide you on a journey for fun. I really recommend you don't do that. It is very, very deep stuff, and I don't want you getting hurt in the process, because a shamanic journey opens you up very deeply, and if you're not prepared for it, if you don't have the right safety mechanisms in place, if you're not in the right space for it, if you haven't learned it step by step, there is definitely a lot that can go wrong. Which is also one of the reasons why I'm teaching it the way I do, because when I first started out, I met a lot of these people who were really fucked in a way. Like they had been guided too deeply, too quickly, and then they attracted lots of negative entities, which is also one of the things that can happen when you use plant medicine in a way that, when you use it when you're without the proper guidance, that you open up very wide very quickly, and you don't have the proper protection in place, and then you invite not only the good stuff in, but also the bad. Good. Happy to hear that that answered your question, Sylvia. Good, lovelies. It is very late for me here, 10 p.m., so I'm going to go to bed now. This was a beautiful session. Thank you so much for being here. I'm happy I was able to answer so many questions. If you want to connect with me further on any of these topics, then absolutely send me a PM. And something I wanted to share with you about in terms of organization. So next week there is a sharing session, and just like today, another episode of the Let's Live show. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to talk about, but you can always let me know in the group what you want to learn about. And I always follow your comments, so I know what you need anyways. I'm always trying to teach whatever you need the most. So next week we already switched to the new schedule, so this call is going to be instead of 9 p.m. 10 a.m. my time. So quite a bit earlier, 11 hours earlier. So everyone who's in Europe, please watch the replay and comment there so I can follow up with you. The week after that, on the 24th, there's no session because I'm turning 30 on the 23rd of March, and I'm going on a holiday to an island. Well, I'm in Bali. I'm on an island already, but I'm going to go to Nusa Lembongan, which is a beautiful island for snorkeling, which is one of my favorite things in the world. And there's also horseback riding, another one of my favorite things in the world. And I can swim with dolphins, a thing I always wanted to do. So I'm going to do lots of things for my 30th birthday that are cool. So I'm going to have a 4-day holiday there. And the 31st of March is going to be another session. And this is already going to be like a lead-in session to the next challenge, which I'm really looking forward to, which is going to start on the 4th of April. So if you're not signed up yet for the challenge, let me know and I'm going to send you the link. And I really look forward to it. No, I'm not Pisces, Rachel. I'm not Pisces. I'm Aries. I'm Aries. I'm like the opposite of Pisces. I'm pure fire. But my sun is balancing me out nicely because he's Cancer. So I'm getting a little bit of water there. Okay, you're so welcome, lovelies. So happy that this resonates so much with everyone and that was helpful for all of you. Rachel says, I've had short periods after I learned how to journey where I haven't been able to go through the gateway. It has always transpired that this has been for my protection. Exactly. In one instant, it was because I was very low in mood and I needed to build up my energy again. Yeah, that's a really beautiful safety mechanism in there. Okay. You need more fire, Rachel. We should merge our energies. Okay, lovelies. Thank you so much for being here with me. Love you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here again next week.